Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to probably the last show before Pujas. We're heading towards a long break. Uh, we will be reviewing basically the team selection against West Indies. So the home series kicks off with two tests against West Indies and then the two tests against South Africa. So we are going to review and rather preview the West Indies tour. And mainly the team selection, and there have been a lot of contentious issues on the team selection. So I'm joined as usual by Amit, Ayan, and Sudeep. So, right, we head into some of the very contentious issues that we needed to discuss on this very, should be a very debatable and controversial show that we promise you just before the pujas. So I'll be starting off with basically we have the same set of questions for all of you, and I would like to have your ideas and views on how things go. So we basically start off with Ayan, Sudeep, and then Amit, and then we go the reverse way. So that's the way we go. So my first question, I start off with Ayan. Ayan, good evening.
Yeah, good
Uh,
evening.
One of the most controversial team selections in the recent times, even much more controversial than the England tour. We are looking at the Indian team selection, which happened yesterday with Ajit Agarkar at UAE. Your thoughts on first Shreyas Iyer, with whom to start off with. One of the biggest dropouts in the Asia Cup, which we discussed very minutely along with Rajdeep and with also with in our shows. So my question to you first is Shreyas Iyer's self-exile from red ball cricket due to back injury, which uh, there's been a lot of debate on this injury, and people have been saying that he has been pushed into this exile, whereas a lot of people are saying that he cannot take the rigors. He himself has said that he cannot take the rigors of red ball cricket right now. So a 6-month layoff he has asked for, but he very funnily made the captain of the India side in the ODIs that they're going to play. Your take first, then I'll move to Amit, and then I'll move to Sudeep on Shreyas Iyer's exile. What do you think of it? Is there more we can read into in between the lines, or is it just a straight off back issue? Over to you, Arun.
Yeah, so what I feel, Rahul, is that see, Shreyas anyway is not really a spectacularly good test player, in the sense his test average is about a modest 36, 37 types. And his real forte seems to be the limited version of the game. And therefore, I believe he somehow feels that in the way the Indian test cricket at the moment, the way it is evolving, it's probably difficult for him to get a place. And I also feel that he probably, the message that he got after he was dropped from the Asia Cup. So I believe that he sort of feels that even his general acceptance in this team, I think it's very clear that Gautam Gambhir wants to make his own team. I mean, in the sense that that's probably fine. We have discussed this at length. Every leader is absolutely allowed to build a team around them, with which they are most comfortable. Though here, one has to also say that ability is of prime importance. It cannot be just that you are comfortable with a certain set of players, therefore you prefer them over somebody else who probably have better ability. But Shreyas, while he absolutely stands out in the limited version of the game, especially in in T20 or even in ODIs, test cricket wise, I don't think he's there at the top 5 best Indian batsmen at the moment. I do not think that is the case. So one is that I believe he wants to get a serious look into the or sort of he wants to have a serious I think he has a serious desire to try to be in the light of thing in the spotlight of things in the limited version. he probably feels that there is even a possibility of his getting the captaincy or something, because of course Asia Cup, if India wins, probably that part is also sealed. But there is a serious chance of him being in the limelight of things in the one day. I mean, certainly the T20 version as well as the one day version. But in the Test team, I do not think that he has too much of a chance given the particular way the Indian team is evolving. And quite clearly, Gambhir also does not have too much of affection for him. So I think he's got the message that he's not somebody who is about whom the team is very gung ho about in terms of tests or test matches. So and of course he wants to preserve his body. He's not getting younger. He definitely has. I think just like Bumrah probably is, probably going to be more selective about playing in one days and T20s, probably slowly withdrawing from test matches. I think Shreyas probably feels the same way, and he doesn't want to pick up an injury. A player knows his body the best. So, 5-day version of the game is long. It is, West Indies is not a great team. Probably he has more to lose than to gain if he picks up an injury over, something which is probably niggling. He has probably something niggling. And if he picks up something worse, then I think, in a trade-off, if you see the debit credit balance, he probably thinks he has little to gain because he might get out of the T20 World Cup. I think he still has a pretty decent chance of getting into the team in the T20 World Cup. And then if he picks up something in the Test series against a low-key opponent, then what does he gain? So he just basically just takes himself out, spares himself the ignominy of getting dropped, and I think this is a sensible decision on his part. I don't see too much of a
So,
chance for
Aryan,
Shreyas in the
you
Test team.
think that this is, I mean, he's intelligent, he's reading between the lines and the writing
Absolutely,
on the wall.
clearly, and see, very, very obviously. See, you remember there was a lot of controversy after India lost that ODI of that World Cup final, right? In the pavilion, there was this issue about, shaking hands and all that. He was the only player who, the Prime Minister had been there, and there was a lot of writing on Twitter because on X, that is, because Shreyas Iyer seemed to be, did not shake hands and all. So probably with the current dispensation as well, he's not gelling very well. He understands everything very well. I see, because now from what has happened in the Asia Cup, I think it is very clear that all boundaries between sports and politics and the way our national discourse is evolving, all those lines have faded, right? I mean, our captain has been slammed a fine. I think probably he got away a bit too, lucky. I mean, weakly. I think he could have had a worse fine if you think of what has been done to Haris Rauf. He's got away distinctly lightly. But that's very clear that the boundaries have almost vanished, right, between the way we play our sports, especially cricket, and the way our nation faces politics and all. And I don't think Shreyas Iyer is somebody who is a very big hit with the current dispensation at all levels, because it is everything now in India is sort of connected together. The way the politics is evolving, the way the cricket is also evolving, boundaries have completely blurred. And I see there was a massive thing about Shreyas following Dhruv Rathi. I don't know if you're aware of this. There was a massive outcry on Twitter that he follows Rathi, and again there was a lot of flag that he had to receive. I mean, it's very stupid that we are discussing all this, but I think in today's India everything is enmeshed, and somehow he's not in the good books of anybody out there, I believe, except for his T20 thing. I think he's quite clearly a champion there, and the franchises care more about money than any other thing, and he's doing very well. Somehow he quite clearly feels that he's not a big hit in the current cricket thinking as well. So he's taken an honourable. I think it's an exit almost from Test matches.
So you're saying it's an honorable exit. Thanks, Aryan.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you. Very clearly said an honorable exit. Over to you, Amit. Your take on
Your
this
mute.
your
Yeah.
self exile. And as Ayon very clearly, categorically, I think explained bit by bit, your take, Amit, on this sudden call by Shreyas Iyer to withdraw from red ball cricket. What do you read about it and what do you think about it?
See, Shreyas by this time would have definitely understood that he is not in the scheme of things for Gautam Gambhir. And the clear message that he got during the English tour from maybe Ajit Agarkar, see, both are from Mumbai. So he might have got this intimation much earlier that he's probably not in the scheme of things going ahead because maybe they are looking Shreyas as a ODI or let's say white ball specialist. So but he did absolutely no wrong in kind of taking a break. And also, see, what's the point in playing Australia A matches if you are not in the scheme of things? So instead of kind of getting himself humiliated, or let's say not humiliated, maybe he doesn't want to kind of showcase his disappointment by just playing the A matches and then getting dropped for the India matches. So he did the right thing, and also he wants to preserve the body maybe for the upcoming T20 or maybe the ODI internationals. So that's what I personally feel. But again, I mean, he's as Ananda was mentioning, right? I mean, he's not getting any younger, but at the same time, he's I think 31, right? So 31 is not a age where you can actually uh, kind of call it a day in test. So he could have grinded a bit more and see if he could have succeeded at this level because I personally feel in Indian conditions or subcontinent conditions, he is a good player against spin. So he could have been really handy at number maybe number 5 after him. But having
So,
said that,
what we discussed, Amit, during that show, which we had, a very popular show we did on Gautam Gambhir's leadership qualities, we did about a couple of months back. So, almost both you and I are hinting on the same thing that he is not in the scheme of things with the management, and maybe he's intelligent enough to read the writing on the wall. That's what you're trying to hint at.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of easy to say, right? I mean, there is no rocket science behind it that he personally feels that he is not in the scheme of things, and he is right. I mean, but he is right in kind of taking this decision of not playing the red ball matches at least for the next 6 months. And if India loses badly at home, maybe he can reconsider and see how it goes from then on. So I think in the next 6 7 months we have the T20 World Cup. It will be followed by the IPL where he will get ample opportunity. He maybe wants to rest his body till that point of time, and he will take call maybe after the IPL or after the T20 World Cup if he's selected. So that's how I look at
So
this
both
decision.
our experts, Ayan and Amit, are agreeing that it's an intelligent call. Maybe the writing on the wall is very clear. Thank you, Amit. Over to you, Sudeep. Your take
Yeah.
on this, I think a little surprising for me to have understood, I mean, to have read the writing on the wall. Your take on Shreyas Iyer's self-exile,
Uh,
citing a back injury.
yeah, I think, I think it's a wise and tactical move also, other than the workload management part, he wants to preserve his body, for the ODIs and T20s and the IPL, which is a, big incentive, to play. I think, at the way things are at the moment, he will find it very difficult to get into the test side, with Gautam Gambhir as the coach, it will be very difficult. So I think he has taken his time, a period of 6 months, because you must not forget that the New Zealand tour, that is going to be a very crucial tour. Actually, I am
I think
telling
it's a
you,
good
that
point
will
you
be a
raised.
very challenging trip, and many heads
So
may roll at the end of the New Zealand tour, and he's
I
just
think the
bidding his
point
time.
that you are making I think the point that you are making is he's taking his time, he's bidding his time, and he's
He's
also
bidding his.
waiting to see what happens in New Zealand.
He wants the
Post which
selectors to come to
he wants
him.
to see, yeah, he wants to see where the wind flows, and then
Yeah,
he takes a call.
then he
That's a
will take
very,
it. So
very good
six,
point,
so
Sudhir. I think
6 months. So 6 months is a very tactical move. By that time, the New Zealand tour will be over, And if India performs badly, as it is, it's a very challenging trip. People like, Sai Sudarshan and Devdutt Padikkal, I'm not very sure how they are going to perform on New Zealand pitches. And you never know,
So
he
you
might
were
get a
saying
call
that
up.
he's very correct, because we have seen that in so many years in Indian cricket, that
Yeah.
people who have been forgotten have been called back and they have taken their places rightfully back. So you
So,
were saying, a little different from Ayan and Amit, you were saying that it is a time-barred call also,
it is a
not only a
tactical move. It
tactical
is a
call.
tactical move. It is a
That
tactical move. The workload management is also there because he wants to stay fit for the ODI and T20,
one
which
we are
is,
all agreeing that one, we all agree that he's not in the scheme of things with Gambhir, which you can see. The other
yeah.
thing is that he's probably, you are right, you bring this point, that the New Zealand tour, he's waiting to see what happens with the Indian side.
Yeah, by that time, this 6 month period exile will also be over. And, he wants the selectors to come to him and select him. And, you never know,
So
if
that's a,
if he performs very poorly in New Zealand, Gautam Gambhir may be axed. You never know. Anything can happen in
no,
Indian cricket.
you made a very good point that I think if we lose New Zealand 0-2 and South Africa is 1-1, heads might roll.
Yeah.
Because Ajit Agarkar clearly said that I don't want a repeat of 0-3 once
And
again.
yeah.
So
And he is also fancying in chances in T20 because the way, this Asia Cup has gone, you will notice, other than Abhishek Sharma and to some extent Shubman Gill, the other batsmen have hardly performed anything. Everybody is looking shaky.
I think what Rajdeep that said, I think if today's match, I don't know how much has Surya scored, but I think Surya
No,
Kumar
Surya's
Yadav will be
12,
very
12,
lucky if
12.
he's
He has scored 12 and he's out.
so
He's
yeah,
looking
he's good.
very shaky.
So I think he will be very lucky if he remains a captain in
Yeah,
T20 World Cup. I have a doubt whether he remains a captain in T20 World Cup.
exactly, exactly. So I think he fancies his chances in the T20 also. So he wants to stay fit for the time being and
So
he
it
does
is
not want to
basically a very
play.
tactical time bird call.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I
that's
feel
a
it's a
very,
very
very good
tactical move.
point because yeah, but the New Zealand series is one thing which you brought up. I think he is actually looking at the New Zealand series to see how India fares because
Yeah.
the middle order will open up. I think heads will roll. I'm sure heads are going to roll because India has a home series against Australia, which is 5 tests, which is the end of the year. Thank you, Sudeep. We'll start off with you the second question, and this brings us to the most contentious and most hot topic which we wanted to discuss. Abhimanyu Ishwaran, a consistent perennial baggage going on with the team from BGT. He has been selected in 21 again. Since 21, he has been with the team. Every time we think he wants, he's on the verge of playing for India, someone else comes and opens for India. In BGT, KL Rahul, in England, it becomes someone else. And now he's dropped. Ajit Agarkar very clearly says, we don't need a third opener. We can fly him in from Calcutta if we require because it is India. Also, the fact that Abhimanyu Ishwaran fails to score at very crunch situations and big matches, which we can't deny. Sudeep, I want to understand from you, is this the perennial anti-Bengali lobby that is working, one which Saurav Ganguly was able to break? Or do you think Abhimanyu Ishwaran is not good enough? Over to you, Sudeep.
Well, see, as far as that anti-lobby which you mentioned, well, Bengal cricket has suffered, we have seen for so many years, there are cases of, Barun Burman, Utpal Chatterjee. These are instances, when in spite of having the required talent and the skill, they failed to make it to the Indian side.
Manoj Tiwari, Lakshmiratan,
Manoj Tiwari,
Sambaran, number
Lakshmi
of
Ratan
cases.
Shukla. There are a number of instances where Bengal cricketers have suffered and failed to make, and because we don't have that strong lobby, barring a very short period of time when Saurav Ganguly was the captain. Even when he was the captain, there was hardly any Bengal players, who made it to the other than for few matches, Lakshmi Ratan Shukla. So Bengal cricket, has
And no,
always,
Lakshmiratan was Lakshmiratan, right? And Deep
yeah,
Dasgupta. Deep
Deep Das.
Dasgupta was there for about a
Very, very,
year.
very short
Yeah,
period, very short period. And Devang
very
Gandhi
short
also.
period.
Devang Gandhi, a couple
And
of
Devang
tests, I
Gandhi,
think,
yes,
couple of tests. So
couple of
I think
tests.
Bengal cricket has
Yeah.
always been at the receiving end whenever, this Indian selection is concerned. Regarding the Abhimanyu Ishwaran, the recently, in this series, the dropping of Ishwaran, I think one of the major factors has been, the statement made by his father. That has had a very negative impact. If he had, I think that could have been best avoided. So that has created a very negative and adverse impact. And the kind of person, Gautam Gambhir is a very vindictive and type of person. And he will not tolerate anything which challenges his authority or anyone who questions his decisions. So that and the way it was presented, the statement, that I think did not go well with the management. And that is why it is one of the reasons he failed to find a place in the, 15 or 16 squad, 15 member squad, you know that has
And
that
also
has
the fact that which I,
the kind of
yeah,
politics,
please, Sunil,
which
please.
prevails in Indian cricket. They here, even if one reason is that he fails in the crunch situation. That is also a factor. But I fail to understand. For 20 since 21, he has been a baggage. If you don't have the confidence to play him in the 11, then why do you carry him then every time
Exactly. That is
into?
the question I would like to have for everyone. I mean, in Indian cricket, I have not seen many people who have been carried for so long.
Uh, but
Karan Nair, Hanuma Bihari, we have seen some glaring examples even in the last 5 years. But people have been, if not picked, they have been dropped. Of course,
yeah,
that raises a lot of debate. Hanuma Bihari has been a debate. Karan Nair has been a debate. Now Karan Nair has been sealed off finally.
see,
But I would say, I would say that Abhimanyu Ishwaran, for me, if you look at the scores also in the crunch matches where it matters, his scores leave a lot to be desired also.
leave a lot to be
A
desired.
70 or a 80 is not working.
But the
And having
immediate
said that,
provocation,
he's been
yeah, yeah, tell me, yeah,
so
please.
you, yeah, so you think it is a combination of both the factors? Is that is a good point again, Sudip. His dad's outburst during the England series, I think, was not taken well by many people in the media as well as Indian cricket's know-how.
And in the present dispensation, if you antagonize Gautam Gambhir, then it will be very difficult to make it into the Indian team. Sarfaraz Khan is another instance.
Big example. I was coming to the point before you took my word. Sarfraz Khan, I mean, is another example where even though he's being said that he's injured, I have doubts whether he's actually injured. Because
No,
that
no, actually,
Australia tour where he had a fallout with Gambhir, I think is paying for that.
that is paying.
So
He's paying for
you
it.
mean to
Yeah.
say it's a combination of affairs, both his I mean inability to score in the crunch scenario, which is very true. But he has I mean he's been scoring heavily leading up to some big matches, and then he doesn't score. And he is going to be 30. He's 29 and a half. He's turning 30, and time is running out for him. Even Saurav Ganguly said during the England series that he might play, he should play, which I also thought he should have been picked, but he has not been picked.
But
So
this,
I
the immediate
am really,
provocation, I'm telling you, that is the, his father's statement that has not gone down well with the
I
selectors as
think
well as
so.
the
Yeah,
cricketers.
I think so, which we'll never come to know. But I think Abhimanyu Ishwaran remains a question that needs to be asked, like Shreyas Iyer's exclusion in Asia Cup. We will also come to Ayan and Amit, but I think this is a question everyone needs to ask. We'll come back to you, Sudeep. Thank you. Over to Ayan. Uh, your take on this ridiculous Abhimanyu Ishwaran saga now. 4 years, you are in the 20, you are in the 17, you are getting a match fee, 30% match fee, you are a contracted player, but you are not playing for India. I mean, how do you look at this one? I mean,
So
I can only look at this maybe to an extent. To an extent, this has happened in world cricket. I think with Graham Hick many years back when he started playing for England when he came over from Zimbabwe. I have not seen many instances where a person is in the 15 and not playing. So your take on this 4 years. What is your take, Ayan, on 4 years in the team and not making it? Over to you, Ayan.
yeah, I mean, see, there is no doubt that Ishwaran seems to have issues in big matches. There's absolutely no doubt. See, he got a chance for the in the Australia A match, the series that is going on. So in the first test, it was a run feast. The Sam Constas got a century. Australia posted a big first innings total, and then India followed. It was a batting paradise at Lucknow. How much does Ishwaran score? He scores a 44. So he scores a 44. Then we have this guy, Sai Sudarshan, scores more than 70. I think this guy, Dhruv Jurel, I think he got a century. I guess Parikkal or something. Somebody else got a big century. So this was his opportunity, right? I mean, and then see, it's a pata wicket quite clearly, and he scores. Nazaruddin scored a 50, and he's immediately dropped in the next test. And then again, see, you have Sai Sudarshan scoring a century in the chase. So that is there, right? So when see, this is like there is this famous English saying is that fortune is like the single hair on the head of a bald person, bald man. Fortune is that single hair. You have to grasp at it. In the last 4 years, I think Bengal has played a couple of finals, and I think some 9. I think this Anushtup had said in an interview to the Telegraph that he had played. I think Bengal has played some 9 knockout matches or something in the last 5 years, 4 years or whatever, and Abhimanyu Ishwaran scored a single 50. So that is a problem, Rahul. We have to see this. I mean, if you have 9 matches and score 150, that is a problem. So maybe there is a thing which is mental. I don't know. But even here, you see, he gets a chance against Australia. It's a completely by batting wicket, and he doesn't even score a 50. So, and see, in the India team, if you think of it, we have Jaiswal and Rahul absolutely entrenched now, right? We have this Devdutt, Padikkal coming in. I mean, you have Sai Sudarshan, you have several young players. He's not, Ishwan is not very young. Obviously, it's 29, 30, right? So that is there. What, of course, I find a bit odd is that why carry him then, right? That is a very, very obvious question. And there should be some chance given to somebody whom you're taking with you all the time. But Indian cricket has always worked pretty inexplicably many times. In our times, we had Ashok Malhotra. He was a fantastic standout player in the Ranji. He was a giant in Indian domestic cricket.
He was an absolute giant along with Arun Lal. Both of them are giants in domestic.
Both of them. Arun Lal, how much of Test cricket did he get? You tell me. Of course, there was Gavaskar, Srikanth, and everybody. His career really clashed with with Gavaskar's sort of end. But think of it, the last time he played was against New Zealand in the 88, that Hadley series where Hadley, I think he went past 400 wickets or something. In fact, Arun Lal was his 400th wicket, Hadley's 400th wicket. But after that, he never got a chance again. And he was absolutely in brilliant form. When Bengal won in 91, Arun Lal was one of the main batsmen. Why was Arun Lal dropped forever? Right? So there are many cases in Indian cricket. You yourself mentioned Hanuma Vihari. He played an absolute stunner at Sydney, which is one of the most glorious performances.
Hanuma Vihari like Arun Lal, is a very big mystery of Indian cricket.
Very, very big mystery, right? So that test at Sydney, I think would go into Indian Test cricket folklore, right? I mean, number 7 and 8 or 8 or 9 batting for 2 hours, 2.5 hours against a top-notch fast bowling on a fourth day test pitch. That's marvelous performance, right? They were playing for their lives, and this guy never gets a chance again. So I think that is mystifying, right?
So you think Ishwaran is a classic example of missing out on the crunch time, and also inexplicable Indian cricket, which carries him on and on.
Indian cricket, and why he's carried and not given a single opportunity. I do not really have too much of answers for that. I think he should have been given a very strong message that, bhai, tumko the next time you fall in a crunch match, we're not going to.
Because Ajit Agarkar gives some very weird answers when he's asked, like Rajdeep rightly said, where do I fit in Shreyas Iyer? I can fly. Yeah, that's stupid. Now, this is the same stupid thing. He's played in India. If we don't require third opener, I'll fly him in. So whenever he's cornered, he gives us some stupid answers. So
one thing that I feel about Ishwaran is, for example, I observed that Sudarshan went and played county cricket. So I don't know whether Ishwaran does that. I think
one thing which Sayak, our resident reporter, also picked out, and which we also discussed last time, that he doesn't play IPL. Gambhir likes people with IPL contracts.
Well, you have to be an all-rounder these days. I mean, gone are the days where, you only stick to one form of the game. And that's a very risky thing. I mean, either you be somebody like Cheteshwar Pujara, who's an outstanding bat.
Correct.
I mean, you think of Rahane. Rahane was playing even now when he's like at the fag end of his career. See how he bats in the IPL. I mean, if
I
you do
mean,
not show this
Abhiman,
kind of flexibility, then you will not be among the favorites in the team management because an issue
currently,
will
which
be cast.
yeah, which Sudeep rightly said, the current dispensation is such that if
Hmm.
you are not, I mean, it's not a glass half empty. You have to be a half filled glass. Otherwise, you
Absolutely. I mean,
get into real trouble.
I
You
think
have to be something aligned to the management. Otherwise, there's no point. I
right.
mean, you can't
I
play.
think the boxes that Abhimanyu does not
He
tick
needs to take.
are he does not tick at the moment. I think the two main boxes he doesn't tick is that he doesn't perform at crunch situations, and number two, he's not flexible enough. So, for example, has he shown that if he, for example, he's not getting the opener thing, right? So why does he not shift in the Bengal batting order to number 4 or 5? And see, India after
That's a
Kohli,
good point.
yeah,
That's a good
after
point because
Kohli,
KL Rahul is someone who can shift from 1 to 6 any position and he
yes,
gets
yes.
runs.
Yes. So, for example, after Kohli, Pujara, Rahane, three stalwarts have gone. So, in the Indian middle order is in a state of flux. So, why doesn't Ishwaran in the Bengal Ranji, for example, the 25-26 Ranji, why does he not tell the management that, okay, I'm going to bat at number 5 or number 4?
Very
And then
good
show
point, I
them
think.
sort of,
One
I
good
mean,
point.
uh,
So Sudeep raised was the Shreyas Iyer timing for 6 months. Very, very good point. The other good point you raised is the flexibility, the lack of flexibility. So I ask
absolutely.
you, Ayan, what Sudeep said. His father coming out all guns against a powerful man like Gautam Gambhir. Do you think it is damaged to an extent damaged or not?
I mean, we can speculate, right? I mean, what a particular person feels about, I mean, obviously, Gambhir has a very large ego.
Yeah,
And he's also very closely connected with the current dispensation,
dispensation.
and they are extremely intolerant about any kind of criticism. So it obviously his father has not rubbed Gambhir rightly. He has obviously rubbed Gambhir wrongly. There's no doubt about that. But
Yes.
whether Gambhir is so unprofessional that he would let some kind of a very, very non-cricketing thing. I mean, who is Abhimanyu Ishwaran's father finally, right? He's just another, I mean, he's a well-wisher. He's probably a cricket fan. So there are millions of people who hurl complete abuses to our cricketers. Like our
Correct.
cricketers have had their houses attacked and all that if India has failed or done badly in a tournament. So if you are up there in the limelight, you too absolutely have to get habituated to stones getting thrown at you. So, because it's Ishwaran's father, therefore, if Gambhir takes decisions based on spite, that is very unfortunate. But I do not think that Gambhir is that unprofessional. But see, even if he has been rubbed wrongly, he has enough justification to defend his selection. He has enough justification because you can say
Correct.
that this guy is not performing when it's needed. He's not, he's only going to, he's like an opener, no other thing. He doesn't play the IPL.
I think a
So
very,
why
very
would
good
he?
point you bring in is that the lack of flexibility, which I think is a very big point. In Indian cricket now, if you are not able to find a position, you have to move back. So
Absolutely.
Shubman Gill went to 4, which I was much against
Yeah,
him
but see,
before the
yeah,
series that
so
he
see
could,
how he's
and he
done.
scored 750.
Right.
But correct. Thank you, Ayan.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.